Well, good evening, everybody. This is really an exciting opportunity for us to discuss something quite unusual. And so the topic for our MAP talk this evening is titled White Night. And as you would have seen on the earlier information that we sent through, it is night with a K. You know, we are living in a world of constant change and transition. And this time of turbulence that we find ourselves in is nothing other than what you experience when we move to a more exciting level. And I want to share a few thoughts with you this evening that I trust are going to enable you to better navigate the trials and tribulations of life so that you can come out with an exciting testimony to share at the end that will inspire others. And as you know by now, the letters WHITE are going to mean something significant to us this evening. And of course, the first letter that I want to talk about is the letter W, which strangely doesn't sound like a W when I give you the word, because W in the context of tonight's message is the word right. WRITE, right. And the reason I am using these words this evening is because every single one of us are writing through the course of the day. When I was a young engineer, I used to write letters in response to complaints that people may have had. And of course, when I wrote a letter, it would first go to my superior, who would check the letter, send it back to me. I would edit it, send it to the typists. They would retype it. It would come back. It would go back for his approval. And once he was happy, he would send it to his superior, who would make changes. It would come back to him, onto me, back to the typist, get typed again, and sent out. So everything that went out was thoroughly thought through. But today we live in a world where everything is instant, and we write things without thinking, and we write stuff that is going to influence other people. And so I just want to encourage you that in the context of being a white knight, somebody who brings light in the darkness, let us be careful what we write. And let's begin to draw or make a withdrawal of wisdom that is within us and write about that instead. The letter H talks about hear. What is it that you are hearing? But more importantly, what are you saying that others are hearing? And so in conjunction with what you write, I think it's important for us to begin to really become aware of the message that we are sharing with others. Is it a message of encouragement? Is it a message of upliftment? Is it a message that's going to inspire people to be all they were born to be? What is the message that you are sharing? I think the time to simply post something on social media just when you begin to get an itch somewhere, or you want to have a like, or you feel like you need to be loved, or whatever it might be. I think the time to do those kind of posts need to be cautiously avoided. Let's think carefully before we post something. And when we post, let's always be mindful of the message that people are going to be hearing as a result of what we are sharing. When I was a young boy, I used to help my father with his welding activities. He used to do burglar proofing as something to generate a second income. You know, he had 3 young sons and a little princess that was there to feed, and he had big dreams for us as a family, so he used to do more than just his job, and he used to do this welding of burglar proofing and burglar gates. Yes, back then crime was on the horizon. And you know what was interesting is when we used to watch or help him with welding, he used to always caution us, don't look at the arc when he's welding. And you know what young boys would do is, of course, we would peep past the helmet to see what that arc looked like. And it was so bright. It was so bright that it left an imprint on your retina. It's like when you look directly into the sun by accident, or maybe on purpose for the first time, and it almost burns an imprint in the back of your retina, which remains there for some time. And as I was thinking about this word imprint, I wanted us to begin to think about the fact that there are things or input that we are receiving that is leaving a lasting imprint on our mind. In fact, the input that we are receiving is causing us to, the letter T, think about certain things in a certain way. And so the thoughts that you and I are having today, many of them are attributed to the things that people write, the things that people are saying on social media. In other words, the input that we are receiving, we are spending time thinking about those things. And you know that the artificial intelligence that exists today is designed to help you dig deeper into the things that you are curious about. So you may get a different view of the world. Now, if this is happening, it is important for us to realize that what we write, what we speak about, and the input that we provide for others is affecting their thought life. And when I think about that, I have to consider, what is my eulogy going to sound like? The letter E. What are people going to say about what I wrote, what I said, the input or the imprint that I left? And what thoughts did I inspire in them that brought about real transformation in their lives? So I think that these considerations that I've shared with you are important for you to be the light in this dark world that we find ourselves in. I think it's time for light to become evident. And you know, it is in the darkest night that the stars are the brightest. And so this darkness that we find ourselves in is the perfect place to become the white knight, to become the light that shines in the darkness, to bring about a positive, exciting message that inspires people to have thoughts of bringing about real world transformation. I'm not talking about becoming part of a global village or the global world order. I'm talking about something quite different. Let's look at transforming the world to where it should be. Of course, if I look at a knight, spelled K-N-I-G-H-T, I hope, and I hope that's not my creative spelling, but we're going to run with that. A knight is often someone who is the guard, the bodyguard, or the closest group of people to the king. And I'm not referring to one of our panelists that you will see later on this evening. But I am going to be talking about the word king, because a knight is there to serve the king. And the question is, who is your king? Or what is your king? And when I talk about king, I'm talking about who is your master. You know, some people, I've heard them say that cash is king. And people that walk around with that belief system means that money is their master. What is your king? Because whatever your king is, whatever your master is, that is who you will serve. That is what will dictate what you do. And so choosing our master wisely is the first step for great knighthood. So what is, or who is your king? And I think we need to examine that very carefully, because the king is the commands we listen to. As a knight, you should be busying yourself not with the things that are newsworthy, but rather the things that are noteworthy. A knighthood is a noble profession. If you're going to be the white knight in this dark world, then it is important that we begin to engage with the things that are noteworthy, the things that are meaningful, the things that make a purposeful difference. Simply perpetuating that which is noteworthy projects a negative message into the world and just confirms the message of despair that so many people feel. It's time for us to bring a new, positive, exciting message. And the way to do that is to be focused on things that are noteworthy, not newsworthy. My grandmother used to always say, no news is good news. So if you are watching the news, I can be sure that it is not good. And we need not be part of the process of perpetuating that outlook. Let's begin to focus on what is noteworthy. Let's also be the people that inspire and influence people by our behavior, the things we do. Let's be an example. So the letter I is about being an inspiration, someone who's doing things that are worthy of following or worthy of emulating. We all know, if you've had children and your children have passed through their teen years into adulthood, you know that you wished you knew that your children did not listen to the words you spoke, but they watched the actions and your behavior and emulated that. So if you want to be the white knight, then it's important that the behavior, the actions are worthy of emulation. Let us inspire others to do the right thing through the actions and the behaviors that we portray. G talks about glory. For whose glory are you doing what you're doing? The goals that you set for yourself, for whose glory are they? Do you want to tell the world that you climbed to the highest ladder and you were the number one in your field, the best of the best, with all the trophies that they found, as Romeo said, in the basement after you left? Or are you going to be a true knight who does what you do for the glory of the king you serve? Because I can tell you, whatever king you have chosen is the one that's going to get the glory ultimately. A true knight, when he does something, does it with heart. And when I say with heart, everybody should understand what I mean. You know, when we talk about people whose heart is in it, I mean, they are fully and completely engaged. They are so convicted in what they're doing that nothing can stop them. They are willing, like the bee, to give up their life, to sacrifice themselves for the greater purpose. And so to be the white knight in this time that we find ourselves in to be that star in essence in the night sky, we need to be all in. We need to be doing it with conviction, passion. Our heart needs to be sold on that which we engage in. And then the last letter is the letter T. And for me, it just reminded me the importance of remaining true to your purpose, remaining true to your gifts and talents, remaining true to the vision that is on your heart. You know, when you remain true to your purpose, then you will be the person who ignites the flame of passion in others. When you are true to your purpose, you will find other people will be inspired by what you are doing. When you are true to your purpose, other people will also become convicted of theirs and begin to pursue it with passion. So I invite you, I invite myself to begin to step into the darkness and be the bright, shining star that guides people towards a positive, purposeful outcome. And we have the ability to do that when we are careful in what we write. We are careful in what we listen to or what we hear. In other words, what we speak to others. When we consider the influence or the impact or the input or the imprint that we are going to have through the things that we do, because it is going to influence people's thought life, and what they think about is what they become. Your eulogy should be a guide so that what you write, hear, input, think about is going to echo in eternity. And then, of course, as we ended with the word night, who is your king? What is noteworthy? And what was the letter I? Are you going to inspire others with your life? Whose glory are you chasing after all? Is your heart completely sold on the vision that you have? If so, stay true to your purpose. Please join us every Wednesday evening for an exciting time of inspiration. And I can't wait to hear the thoughts of the panel this evening, because I know without a doubt that they're going to share words of wisdom with us that's going to ignite us in such a way that we will be that white knight in the world that we find ourselves in today. Have a wonderful evening further. We'll see you next week, Wednesday, same time, same place. Good night.
Wow, thank you, Glenn. That was inspiring. You certainly were a white knight, inspiring us with that message. I was with Glenn earlier this morning, and my opening statement almost was, I wanted to play devil's advocate. And the group I was with then said, but Peter, your words are powerful, and the words we use have such an influence. Don't you want to change that statement and not be the devil's advocate? And it was Glenn's presentation now was just a reminder of what we were talking about tonight and how we need to be careful with the words that we use. And it's so easy to slip into using the wrong terminology and create the wrong impression and not inspire and get people going in the right direction. I had an occasion this week to talk to somebody about a term that she used to describe somebody turning 60, and now that they'd reached the age of 60, they were close to being a has-been. I said, well, words are so important. 60 is just a number. It's not a case of just being a has-been. One of my mentors is a guy called Bob Buford, who wrote a book. He wrote a number of books, and his most famous book was Half Time, where he talks of people reaching a stage in their life which he calls half time, and how it's a case of moving forward. And it was this particular book that I've got in front of me, right next to me, called Finishing Well. And he's talking about Zig Ziglar. And I think you've all heard of Zig Ziglar, but I'm quoting from the book. And somebody says to Zig, he's 78 years old now. Zig, are you thinking about retiring? And he laughed and he said, no, retiring, I'm refiring. There's no mention of retirement in the Bible as far as I can tell. In fact, except for Jesus and David, nobody had much of an impact till they were at least 60. And most of them were in the 90s before they did their best work. And I just quote that as part of what Glenn's been talking about, and being a white knight. Age is not a limitation. And so often we can impose these limitations. And I think it's important that we be aware of it. We be aware of the language that we're using, whether we're writing or whether we're verbalizing it and speaking these words. And we need to think about it. And if I were to take the one point from today, I would be talking about the eulogy. What sort of eulogy are you wanting to leave behind? And here's the panel coming through, and so good to see you. And I've been waffling a little just to wait for you to get here. And so I'm going to hand straight over to the king that Glenn spoke about, Heather King, who's coming to us from the UK. Heather, would you like to just tell us where you are and just a little bit about your background?
Thank you, Peter. I'm in the southeast of the United Kingdom, and it's great to be on here. Thank you for having me. And I love Map for Life because I was introduced to it a long time ago, but never took it up really. But when I found a book in Gordons Bay when I was on holiday there, it reignited that flame, and I really wanted to know more. But I came back to the UK and put the book down. Didn't actually look at it until I came across Glenn. There was a free gift in that book. It's a 2003 book, which had a free gift. And I thought, if this person hasn't used this book and it's brand new, the free gift is still available. Responded on the free gift and got Glenn and had a free course. And I'm so excited because Map for Life has actually shown me how to turn my to-do list into a today list. So really excited.
Romeo, would you like to introduce yourself? And I just love Romeo. And
Thank you,
it just adds to this wonderful international flavor that we have. We've now got somebody from the southeast corner of England, and now we've got somebody from, I'm not quite sure which corner of North America. So would you like to paint the picture for us, Romeo?
Yes, thank you. I love you too, Peter. And I still have your book, Map for Running, which is very, very inspirational to me. And the structure, how you have put running into the Map for Life system, it's a great resource for me. Thank you again. So I am in Canada. This is like East Canada, you know. I'm in Canada, but you know that I'm from Cameroon. I always say that I'm from Cameroon because, because I have a passion for not. I have a passion for that part of Africa. I believe that Map for Life is like a compass for my people, and definitely, if we want Africa to be developed, we need to integrate Map for Life into our plans. So I discovered Map for Life in 2004, and I was very inspired by what you said today. I still think that the best is yet to come.
Wonderful, and I totally agree with you on that. And I run the Santon Map Cafe, and we've got our annual conference coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Wow. And part of the theme is along the lines of the best is yet to come. And the theme was, we haven't come so far to be where we are now. We have to go way beyond it.
Yes, you're right.
Just another little background. Heather and I were talking a little earlier, and it was when Romeo spoke about Cameroon, and I discovered that Heather was born in the most beautiful place in the world, a place where all the great people come from, a place called Bulawayo, and that's where I was born as well. So. And so I have this wonderful feeling about Bulawayo and about Zimbabwe, and I just like the way Romeo talks about Cameroon, and I know that Map for Life is having a considerable impact in Zimbabwe, as it is in a lot of other places in Africa.
Yes.
Is there one takeaway from Glenn's speech that stood out for you? I just mentioned the eulogy, but I'd just like to hear a couple of other comments.
For me, it was letting your light shine. You know, Matthew chapter 5:16 just came into my mind because he was talking about letting your light shine and giving glory. And that verse says, let your light shine before others that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. So, you know, he spoke about giving glory.
Wonderful. Yeah. Romeo?
I also believe that we haven't yet let our light shine. We're still in the process because something hit me today. It's what you said, that a lot of people did not make a great impact until they are 60, you know, but because sometimes we underestimate, sometimes we are pessimistic about how great our impact has been, you know, because I'm 45 years old today, and you can be disappointed. You can be.
You're just getting started. What's he doing? You're just getting started.
But you know, we are just getting started. You know, I needed to be here today. Today is what my presence here today is. It's prophetic. It's prophetic. I needed to come and listen to this. Yes. You know why? I come from a place where, you know, we are far behind. There's a lot to do. Sometimes you think that you are failed. You see? But this is Romeo, 45 years old, and I think that this is the beginning. So
absolutely,
I still have to connect to the energy of the beginning with my knowledge of now, and conquer the top of the mountain, because in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, certainly that light will shine.
Wonderful.
So I want to
Where
persevere.
is the top of your mountain?
The top of my mountain is seeing 25 millions of people from the area where I come from, and normally where I live now, but I wrote it that 25 million people must get Map for Life in their hands. I must am I going to give it out? Am I going to sell it? Am I going to look for partners? The government is going to sponsor it. I don't know how. But we cannot rest until we see the maximum of our people use the torch of Map for Life. Because for us to shine is to see all these people shining. If I want to rest that I am shining, it's because I have seen all my people shine. They need it.
Yes,
there is obscurity in my place. There is obscurity in my place. Spiritual obscurity. A place blessed by God with a lot of resources, but people are blind.
Yeah.
So this torch of Map for Life should be given into the hands of school students, civil workers, everybody. This is the top of my mountain. So I measure my significance with the Map for Life torch given to 25 million people.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes, this is what I.
Heather, have you got any comments on that?
Yes, Romeo, you're saying 25 million, but you know what? When you start getting to 20, you're thinking 25 is not the top, 50 is the top. Every time you reach another level, you know what? You got to go higher and higher.
You're
it's
right.
like the top keeps growing. So just aspire to keep on moving the goal higher and higher, keep on setting it further, because generations are growing in
You're right. You're right.
People are being born every day. Yes. 25 million, 5 years.
I am modest. I am rational. I am rational. I am too rational. I'm too rational.
We talk about living in dark times, and so much of it, I believe, is related to the changes that have taken place in the world in recent times. We've got an advertisement which is put out by one of the insurance companies here in South Africa, and they use this advertisement when it's coupled with a golf tournament, and you see a golfer approaching his ball, and he's now wanting to play a shot across the sand pit onto the green, and he turns to his caddy and he says, "Please give me a sand wedge." And the caddy hands him a sandwich, something that you eat. And I just thought, but that's what's happening in the world today. We've got people doing jobs, and they're not equipped to do those jobs. And you wind up, instead of giving the guy a club to play a shot, he gets given a sandwich to eat. And I think that's part of what our calling is, to enlighten the people and to be that light shining out there and being the one to lead the way. Would anybody like to comment on that?
Yes, I think that when you say we're living in dark times, if you are the light, you're not living in dark times. So yeah. I believe that there are good things, so many good things have come out of the past 24 months. So many, yes. For me, especially in the UK, fathers are spending time with children. They had to work from home, and families are spending more time together. But if you believe that you are living in good times, in bright times, and you are that shining light, the dark just dissipates. It just goes away. And if you can show people how bright your light is and what light times you are living in, there's no need to talk about darkness. Just go out there and lighten the room, lighten the world.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. You know, what I'm really excited about is that we're sitting here and talking like this, and I don't think this would have happened if it hadn't been for lockdown. And lockdown forced us to look at how we were doing things, and we're now doing them differently. Here we've got a truly international chat show inspired to make a difference in the world, to be the light in the world, to maximize everybody's potential. And I think that's a really important issue. Vladimir, would you like to add something else?
Yes, according to me, yeah, like Heather is saying that, yeah, we are lights, and we need to share the light for other people to shine. You know, if there is a critical mass of people shining, then the darkness is going to dissipate. You know, so.
Yes.
So yeah, me with Map for Life, I know that I am seeing the light, you know, with these meetings, with the readings, and I always have my previous Map for Life books that I go and read what was written by Glenn. I see my notes for all the seminars, and I know that there is some light. I am helping my light to shine more, but I'm concerned about how do I share for other people to shine, because if I shine alone, it doesn't mean anything. But if if I inspire other people to shine, that is when I'll be happy, and the darkness can dissipate then, because more and more people are shining. Yes.
Now, did you learn something tonight that you can implement?
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yes. Yes. I learned that I have to be cautious about what I say, about what I write. I need to ask myself, is this that I'm saying, or is this that I'm writing can echo into eternity?
Wonderful.
Can we use it in 2200 2800, and people will say,
yes,
someone said something, you know. So the power of the verb is still available to us, but I think it's misused because we say many things that are not echoing into eternity. It's useless. We better keep silent sometimes.
Yes.
We better keep silent sometimes, and reflect about pushing some words that will echo into hearts and echo into eternity. I learned that. And secondly, I learned from you, Peter, that, oh my God, by the turn of 60, I will start shining. I have no right. I have no right to be pessimistic and to be negative about maybe, or I did my best, but I don't have anything to show for now. Sometimes I'm really concerned. Sometimes I sit down and say, but what's happening? So, but you taught me today that I must keep pushing, because the future will tell me.
And I think that is so important. I mentioned Bob Buford, and he wrote a book called Half Time. And Bob Buford was started off that his mentor was a guy called Peter Drucker, who was the greatest writer on management.
Yes.
Brought it from Germany to America and developed it in America. But Peter Drucker wound up literally having three, and he talks about having three halves, and that Peter Drucker did more, and he wrote more books from the age of 75 until he died at 94 than he did in his first 74 years. And I think that's a wonderful example. So just taking that thought that I planted in your mind, Romeo, I'm just saying, well, just take Peter Drucker and what he did in the third half of his life. And that to me is inspiring.
Very, very. I really thank you very much. What you gave me today is priceless.
Heather, have you got anything to add?
Oh yes, definitely. Glenn used the word right, and unfortunately, think was fourth in line. But I believe that your thoughts, as if you were watching your screen, viewers, you saw what Norman Vincent Peale said. Your thoughts is what determine what you're going to write and what you're going to say.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of our thoughts are based on our paradigms, on what we've been taught as children. A lot of what we say are expressions that we use, that we've grown up with in society, at home. For example, you use the devil's advocate. That was a saying. People often say, I'm sick and tired. Are you really sick and tired? We forget that, our words are actually a wand. They are a wand. They determine what happens. And where do your words come from? They come from your thoughts. So many times we just don't think. We just don't think. And, just to pause and think about what you're writing, about what you're saying, about what you're letting people hear. Because, one truth is that, when Glenn was speaking about hearing, sometimes what people hear is not what you think you said.
Yes.
You think you've said this and they're hearing something completely different. So it's choosing those words carefully. So what I've really learned today is, to think before I speak or write, and then make sure that what I'm saying and what I'm writing is only going to leave somebody else with increase, because we must always leave people with increase in what we do or say. So that's been crucial for me and something that I need to be more conscious of.
Wonderful, thank you. And I just think that's a wonderful place to close our discussion. So Heather, thank you. Romeo, thank you. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Peter.